I had two people tell me that they believe that the story of Ruth is significant in the Bible because Ruth was obedient. I just finished reading Ruth and I wanted to challenge that perspective because I don't necessarily agree with it. Now, my POV may be wrong, but if I have to go with that, then that would also require me to infer or assume that Naomi had a great relationship with God and everything that she told Ruth was led by God. Okay, that's fine. But when you read the text, Naomi only tells Ruth to do one thing, and that one thing is to go wash up, put on perfume, wait till Boaz finishes his date for the job, and go lay at his feet. That is the only instruction that we get from Naomi in this text. Okay, everything else that Ruth does was on her own accord. So to me, I didn't even feel like what Naomi told Ruth to do was God-led. Like, I really think Naomi told Ruth to do that because she was trying to find a way to pay Ruth back for all of the goodness that Ruth had done to her, right? Essentially, the only reason she told Ruth to go lay at Boaz's feet was because she was like, well, we got to get you a man, right? Okay, backstory for anybody that didn't read but is interested. Naomi is Ruth's mother-in-law. Naomi's husband died. Naomi's husband died and her sons died. So that means Ruth's husband died. So all Naomi really got is her daughters-in-law, which she insisted that they go on and live their life because she's too old to give them sons again. She ain't got no sons. She ain't got no husband. She ain't got nothing. One of the daughter-in-laws, Orpah, she's like, hey, no problem. I'm out. I'm going to go do my due. Ruth is like, no, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to do everything you tell me to do. I'm going to rock with you. I'm going to even serve the Lord you serve. That's the only time we really hear about the Lord, right? Well, we hear about the Lord in a couple instances. Hopefully y'all with me because I'll be all over the place. But other times that we hear about the Lord is when people are like wishing good for Ruth because of what she has done for Naomi. When you see Ruth and Boaz have their first interaction, Ruth asks Boaz, like, what made me find favor in your eyes? All Boaz is saying is because word around town is that you looked out for our girl Naomi. So I think that really the biggest thing is that not that Ruth obeyed Naomi. I think it's that Ruth really loved Naomi as herself. It was led to Galatians 5 verses 14. And it says, for all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And so I think Ruth is significant, not because she was obedient, but because she truly understood the concept of loving your neighbor as yourself to the point where you will serve them without any expectation in return. She had zero expectations of anything being returned, right? She went with Naomi, and then you get to chapter 2 of Ruth, and Ruth wakes up and says, hey, I would like to go pick barley and like get wheat together and continue to do hard work to serve you. Even at the end of Ruth goes on to say that the Lord has blessed her because she was better to Naomi than even 7 sons. I think that if you really study Ruth, you can take her character. Like, I think her character is an example of how women should be, right? So if you continue reading Galatians 5:23 touches on how Galatians 5 talks about the fruits of the Spirit, right? And it talks in verse 23, it mentions that meekness is the fruit of the Spirit. So I went to go look up what meekness meant. And meekness is like being submissive. So I think Ruth did a good job. So when y'all talked about obedience, I think Ruth was like very obedient to the situation, like very submissive to the situation. But also I do think she had the free will to go and create her own life. So essentially Ruth chose to be submissive and serve. Ruth is very soft, submissive, humble, chill, cool. Like she's, even when she went to go lay at Boaz's feet, she didn't go all seductive. The girl realized laid at his feet and left before anybody could see. Like, I think that there is, I think I'm now understanding Ruth's significance. And again, I think she really just understood the benefits of serving. And really the benefits of serving is just to be a good person, which again is a fruit of the Spirit. Goodness. We got love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness. I mean, faith is also one, but I just don't think Ruth exhibited any faith because we don't really get enough backstory on her relationship with Christ. And we don't get enough of Boaz or even Naomi's relationship with Christ for me to assume that faith played a part in anything. I think Naomi and Boaz definitely served the God of the Israelites, but I think this story is beyond like a relationship with God. I really think it just boils down to character. And Ruth's character to me is unmatched.